Well, welcome back to my mundane observations. I suppose that there's no surprise in finding out that the words debt and death are synonymous, as they sound alike and are closely related. My wife currently came down with a nasty infection which required an antibiotic. However, there are no drugs or assistance that can help her in dealing with me. I was the first person diagnosed with dementia at birth, so the lights have been flickering ever since. I always get a kick out of the in-flight safety demonstrations by the airline stewards and stewardesses, and I'm certain that just about everyone ignores them. I usually don't because you never know, but I do realize that if we get the message from the pilot or crew that there's a problem, you know that just about everyone is going to go into major panic mode, including me, which means that the procedure for seatbelts, oxygen mask, life jacket inflation, and exit doors are going to go down with the plane. And now Spirit Airlines has been going into a comedy routine on their flight safety procedures, which is unique, but I'm not so sure it's going to make any difference. Though the idea is interesting and eccentric, I don't know if it will stick with the passengers if we run into a critical problem. And I've flown on a few of their flights, and the stewards and stewardesses are very entertaining and upbeat, so that's a plus. So, how's Fox News making out? The Grim Reaper is knocking on the door, and he or she is not going to leave until someone answers that door. You got to confront these demons. And the Proud Boys did a stand up job of naming themselves. I don't think they're too proud right now. Stupid is as stupid does, according to Forrest Gump. And I'm going to bring up Norm MacDonald, the comedian who passed away about a year and a half ago. And he left us way too soon. I was a big fan of his. I'll keep this somewhat brief. You can say what you want about him, and I watched a video that featured Dave Chappelle, Dave Letterman, Conan O'Brien, Adam Sandler, Molly Shannon, and David Spade all together. And you really get to appreciate what his impact was in the comedy world. I always enjoyed him because he never had a script. It was all in his head. And he was very, very unpredictable. And there was a subtle joy to him as he spewed his routine and ideas. And every person in the video that I mentioned about his life and comedy, it goes to the core of the incredible talent and comic memories he left behind. He truly was a very unusual talent. And just to look on his face with that never ending smile, seemingly saying to everyone watching him, you have no idea what I'm going to say or do simply because no one else could ever come up with these routines. He was a totally fearless comedian and such a unique talent, and I do miss him. My wife reminds me to use skin cream since I'm turning into a prune here. So I put some skin cream on my forehead, and about an hour later, I looked about 2 years younger, which would make me look like 67 rather than 69. And I'm a snake according to Chinese astrology. And when my wife discovered this years ago, she replied, I'm not surprised one bit. You act like a snake. So then I quietly slithered into the other room. So Bed Bath and Beyond filed bankruptcy recently. It's always a bit remorseful when a store that's been around over 50 years goes under, and they, of course, sold bed and bath items. And now they've reached the beyond, or I guess you could say that they named it Bed Bath and Beyond, knowing that someday the word beyond was going to be their demise. And I was watching the comedian Bill Burr recently, who tends to focus on the differences between men and women. And he's quite comical, and as he points out, men and women are completely different creatures. I think we all know that. He claims that women tend to initiate activities such as, you want to go for brunch? You want to go to the mall? Whether we agree or not, the answer in our hearts and minds is always no. We have absolutely no interest in going to malls or having brunch. You see, women know that they're simple beings, that we're simple beings. And I have to admit that I do go along with some of Mary's requests since I realize that she does all of the cooking and she's an incredibly diversified cook, works full time while I'm retired. And you can't refuse them all the time. After all, she's an intelligent, decent, and giving person. Well, at least most of the time. And I know as usually says to me, you're the only one who thinks you're funny. I can't talk here right now. You're the only one who thinks you're funny, and she's right. And lastly, I get a kick out of the online zodiac sign attributes that they rank by certain types, such as the most romantic or the most likely to not admitting that they're wrong. And for this particular one, not admitting you're wrong, my sign was ranked ninth. And I told my wife the results for my sign, and she said, I'm surprised your sign wasn't on top of the list since you think you're always right. And I told her that I was surprised myself since it's true. I'm rarely wrong. You should know that by now. And we will catch you later.